early in the morning. This only makes your wait longer. We generally do not hit capacity at our offices before 9 or 10 each morning, and many offices do not hit capacity until long after that. Remember, you can come in around opening, get in the queue, wait comfortably anywhere you want, and then while monitoring your place in line until it's your turn. To our valued customers, we are committed to making your experience at DMV faster, more convenient, and more accessible. Every step we take, whether it's expanding online service, streamlining in-office processes, or hiring and training staff more efficiently, is designed with you in mind. We hear your feedback, and we're working tirelessly to reduce wait times and enhance your experience. Thank you for your patience and trust as we continue to improve and serve you better every day. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Commissioner. Last month, we marked 1 year since Hurricane Helene struck western North Carolina. It's been an all-hands-on-deck effort to get further down the road to recovery, and I cannot praise our nonprofit partners enough. These organizations have stepped up to help their neighbors in need. In times when the bureaucracy has slowed us down, they have been able to surge ahead. So earlier this month, we awarded more than $9 million that the legislature had appropriated to 14 nonprofit organizations that are active in recovery work. These dollars will help them keep up the good work they're already doing, whether it's replacing roofs, installing septic systems, or fixing electrical wiring. These $9 million are in addition to the $6 million that we had already awarded to Habitat for Humanity and Baptists on Missions back in January. $6 million that has helped those two organizations repair more than 500 homes. To each of the organizations on the ground doing this important work, I thank you and I urge you to keep it up. We will be with you every step of the way. We're now going to hear a video message from Rachel Deary with All Hands, All Hearts, a nonprofit grant recipient. Rachel?
Hello, my name is Rachel Deary, and I am Director of Grants at All Hands and Hearts. We are a voluntary organization active in disasters now in our 20th year. And I apologize for the video format, but my North Carolina cohort is about 4 hours away right now repairing homes in Buncombe and Haywood counties. As a national organization, All Hands and Hearts is not only grateful, we are humbled to receive a $435,000 grant from the Stein administration of the state of North Carolina. We may be national, but right about now we're feeling rather neighborly because we have been in western North Carolina since last September 30th, helping communities recover, pick up the pieces from Hurricane Helene. And our key partners have been from the area as well, such as the Swananoa Grassroots Alliance, Savage Ops, and Silverados, and Rebuild Haywood more recently, the Buncombe County LTRG Black Mountain Home, and the Lake Junaluska Retreat Center, which is now our base of operations. To date, nearly 10,000 North Carolinians have received assistance through our community-based efforts, from distribution of essential food and supplies, to hazardous tree removal, to mucking and gutting of mud-filled homes. The grant that we're talking about today enables All Hands and Hearts to keep up the momentum as we transition to long-term hurricane repair work that is needed now. Specifically, it enables our experienced staff to hire licensed contractors when the homes our teams are repairing also require complex repairs such as roofs, septic, HVAC systems, and plumbing and electrical work. In short, this grant is critical to ensuring that a full range of quality, resilient repairs is within reach for 25 to 30 households experiencing vulnerability. Again, heartfelt thanks to the Stein administration, to our partners,
That's great. So pleased to have All Hands, All Hearts partnership. I am now excited to turn to economic development. I'll invite forward in a moment a couple speakers. Earlier this year, North Carolina was ranked the top state for business in 2025 for the third time in the last 4 years. Thanks to our top-tier workforce and our strong business climate, businesses and employees alike want to call our state home. Last week alone, several businesses announced their plans to invest in North Carolina for the first time or to expand existing operations. As a result, 237 jobs are coming to Greene, Lenoir, and Ashe counties, leading to $47 million in capital investment in those areas. I want to thank Judco, Electrolux, Cardin, and MST Rebar. These are the companies that are investing in North Carolina, which they announced last week. Since January 1, we have announced nearly $20 billion in capital investment in this state, creating approximately 28,000 jobs, good jobs with good wages. Of course, we need to make sure that our people have the skills and knowledge to succeed in an ever-changing economy. And that's why I'm excited today about a workforce development announcement that we will share. Now I'll invite forward DMVA Secretary Jocelyn Millette and GE Aerospace Christian Meisner to the stage. North Carolina was first in flight. We are also the future of flight. The state is synonymous with aviation and aerospace innovation. North Carolina's aviation industry contributes $88 billion to our state's economy each year. Our state is home to more than 400 aerospace companies. To maintain our reputation as the top state for business, we cannot let up. We've got to put in the work and make sure that our people are ready for the jobs of today and tomorrow. Today, GE Aerospace Foundation is announcing a $500,000 donation to Heroes Make America program in North Carolina. This donation will fund new aircraft and power plant maintenance technician certificate program near Fort Bragg. Starting next year, the program will train dozens of people every year: service members, veterans, National Guard members, reserve members, and military spouses will have a bridge into a successful career in advanced manufacturing in North Carolina. Just as our veterans have given so much to us, we must give to them. So I applaud GE Aerospace for investing in our future while strengthening its own workforce at the same time. I'm now pleased to invite forward Secretary Millette and then Christian Meisner to say a few words about this announcement. Secretary.
Good morning, and thank you, Governor. And thank you to the GE Aerospace Foundation and the Heroes Make America program for your continued commitment to North Carolina's veteran and military communities. Every year, nearly 20,000 service members transition out of the military right here in North Carolina. And behind that number are families, men and women who have led teams, solved complex problems, and delivered results under pressure. I was one of them back in 2017 when I transitioned out of the Air Force right here in North Carolina from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro. And as a third-generation veteran, I know firsthand that when we transition out of uniform, we're not looking for handouts. We're looking for opportunity, a new place to belong, and a new mission to support. That's why today's announcement matters. It's more than a donation. It's an investment in people who have already proven their capacity to lead, adapt, and excel under pressure. Our veterans and their spouses bring unmatched dedication, discipline, and innovation into every workplace. They understand mission, they understand teamwork, and when we invest in them, our communities and our economy grow stronger. At the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, one of our top priorities is to help service members and spouses transition successfully, connecting them to employers, educators, and entrepreneurs who recognize the value of their experience. Programs like this one are how we keep that promise. Through GE's support for the Heroes Make America program, we're expanding pathways for our transitioning service members and military spouses to bring meaningful, high-tech careers right here in North Carolina. So to every veteran and military spouse listening here in North Carolina, we want you to stay here. And to every veteran and military spouse listening outside of North Carolina, we want you to move here. Your next mission matters just as much as your last one, and we are committed to helping you and your family thrive here in our great state. So thank you again to Governor Stein, to the GE Aerospace Foundation, and the Heroes Make America program, and to all who believe in the power of North Carolina's military and veteran workforce. Together, we're not just thanking them for their service. We're putting action behind those words of gratitude. We're hiring them, empowering them, and building our state's future with them. Now it's my pleasure to turn it over to Christian Meisner of GE Aerospace.
Thank you, Governor Stein, Secretary Millett. I'm Christian Meisner, the Chief Human Resources Officer at GE Aerospace. If you've flown recently, there's a good chance that GE Aerospace and our 2,000 employees here in North Carolina help power your flight. In fact, our engines are under wing out of 3 out of every 4 commercial flights and 2 out of every 3 U.S. military combat flights. So it's a great franchise, and we've got a fantastic demand for our products. But we, like the rest of the industry, have a challenge, and that is a shortage of skilled workers. These skills are not something you learn over the weekend or after watching a couple YouTube videos. These are skills that take months, if not years, to perfect. Building these skills also take relationships and partnerships like the ones we have here in North Carolina, because they're so important that the entire supply chain needs to be healthy for our industry to work. And with 2 new efforts that we think and hope will really help here. First, right here in North Carolina, the GE Aerospace Foundation is donating $500,000 to the Heroes Make America Foundation to launch a training program near Fort Bragg, because supporting those who served also strengthens North Carolina's aerospace future. The new effort will help service members returning to civilian life earn their FAA airframe and power plant license, hoping dozens and dozens per year. The new program comes at a time where the industry is still short about 5,000 A&P mechanics. This North Carolina donation is in addition to a $30 million flagship program the foundation is launching to train 10,000 aerospace workers over the next 5 years. Again, to ensure that the entire industry is ready for what comes next. To advance the future of flight, we must invest in the people who will build it. We look forward to working with our partners to reinforce North Carolina's leadership, first in flight and a keystone in the aviation industry. Thank you.
I was excited because I learned there's $30 million we can try to get a hold of next year. Thank you, Kristen. And then we'll bring forward Paul Tyne at this point. If anyone has any questions, we will be happy to address them. Yes, Colin.
You called a couple weeks ago for Representative Brockman to resign over his charges. Given he hasn't resigned, do you think he should be removed from office? And do you feel like there's any disciplinary action or resignation needed for Senator Sanderson over his drug driving charges?
Yeah, Representative Brockman is incarcerated at the moment. He is incapable of representing his constituents. The people of High Point are absolutely deserving of representation in this General Assembly. So he should resign, and failing that, he should be removed from the General Assembly. As relates to Senator Sanderson, obviously the charges are serious and exceptionally concerning. We need to let the legal process play out.
We're now four months past a state budget. It doesn't look like there's going to be a comprehensive budget anytime soon. What have your conversations looked like with the speaker or Senate leader about something happening, if not this week, next month, or should North Carolinians expect that there isn't going to be one this calendar year?
The people of North Carolina deserve a budget. A budget is critical for so many reasons. It's how we pay our teachers. It's how we pay our law enforcement. It's how we pay the public servants at the DMVA and the DMV, the Military and Veterans Affairs, and the Motor Vehicles Division and Department, because we need these people to provide critical services to the general population within North Carolina. Healthcare, law enforcement, education, things that truly matter, transportation. There are only 2 states in this country that do not have a budget. There's only 1 state in the country where both chambers in the General Assembly are represented by the same party. That's North Carolina. One of only 2 states in the country that doesn't have a budget. They are failing the people of North Carolina by not having a budget that invests in our people and invests in our future. They're failing to bring on sufficient law enforcement, more cops on the beat to keep us safe. They're failing to pay teachers what they deserve. They're failing to fully fund Medicaid, which is critical to providing health care to people in rural North Carolina, whether or not you are on Medicaid. And now, today, instead of doing the people's business, they are failing the voters of North Carolina by deciding for them who their congressional representation will be. It's outrageous. The people should be choosing our representatives. The representatives should not be choosing their voters. I urge this House and the Senate to get their priorities straight, to pass a meaningful budget that invests in our people. I will keep urging them to do so until they do.
Have you had discussions with the Speaker or Senate President in the past few weeks about any of this?
Yes, we have talked about a number of topics, primarily on Medicaid, trying to get them to invest what they say we need. They admit Medicaid is underfunded. They agree on the dollar amount, and yet they refuse to give the funds to DHHS, forcing incredibly tough choices on that department, which are going to have life-changing consequences that are damaging to people. I urge them to do what's right for people and not what's right for themselves politically.
Obviously, the main target of this new redistricting map is Representative Don Davis. You had any communication with him, his office, and more broadly, what are your concerns about the representation of that district going forward under this new proposal?
Yeah, I haven't talked to Representative Davis since this all broke, but he and we came into the state Senate together back in 2009. I've known him for a very long time. He is a great guy. He is a passionate representative, and that's reflected in his winning. It was a competitive district that actually, the existing district is more likely or not to produce a Republican representative than a Democrat. But Don Davis won because he is who they wanted. The people of that district chose him because he is excellent at his job. And now the Republican legislature is trying to take away the ability for the people of that district to make their own independent choice by rigging the system so much that it becomes difficult, if not impossible, for Representative Davis to win. I have to tell you, it makes me sad because that's not how politics is supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work in this system is you compete. You run as hard as you can. You talk to voters. You hear from them what they care about. You talk about your vision, and you let the voters choose who they want to represent them. And if you win, you work your tail off to do what you said you would do. And if you lose, you think, you reflect, and you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? What can I do better the next time? They're trying to blow that entire system apart by dictating who wins based on drawing of lines. It's incredibly damaging.
A question for Commissioner Stein. Conventional wisdom for the last couple of years for people needing something from the DMV is if you're in an urban area where the offices are more crowded, you have the time to go to a rural community, you might get a shorter wait time. Given the staffing that you've been able to do, is there still sort of an imbalance in the wait times, or is this a point where people really ought to just be going to the closest DMV office to their home?
They should start with the closest to their home, and again, if they show up around closing in our urban areas, or around opening rather, in our urban areas, they should find a spot in line fairly quickly and be able to monitor that out. We have started to see some demand wane in our rural areas, and we're trying to monitor that very closely and determine the actual data behind it, and so that we can start moving some demand that way through appointments down the road. But we're still trying to see if that's a trend or if that's just a moment.
Are there still areas of the states where you have staffing trouble spots, where certain parts of the state have less fully staffed offices than maybe other parts of the state?
So as far as filling the positions that based on the number of spots that were available, that's all been taken care of. Our next phase is to get more strategic about exactly where we have our offices and our people for long term. So that's a staffing plan that we actually have already announced that we would have to have out by December 1st.
For Secretary Millett, about the GE Aerospace funding of this training program where exactly outside Fort Bragg is this going to be? And do you see that, once people have this training, is it more that they could be hired in North Carolina, or that, this is where they're leaving the military, so like they can, get the training while they're still here, or both?
Sure, that's a great question. I'll invite Christian up to correct anything that I say that's incorrect. But from my understanding, the purpose is to make sure that transitioning service members, not just outside of Fort Bragg, even though it'll be geographically located closer to Fort Bragg, but all of the bases that have aerospace workers, so that includes Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, but also Seymour Johnson and other bases, just to make sure that, one of the biggest humps is the timeline, to make sure that future employers know actually when transitioning service members are getting out of the military. And so we're hopeful that this will better connect transitioning service members, but also military spouses to jobs, and so that they can be trained, and we hope that they stay right here in North Carolina. But I'll turn it over to Christian to add anything else to that to answer your question. Thank you.
Actually, the Secretary nailed it. We'll be partnering with the Fayetteville Technical Community College, which is really close to Fort Bragg. So the idea here is obviously you go meet the service members as they're transitioning out, particularly those that have an interest in aviation or very often have a background in aviation, are able to go to the technical training school, after a short period of time come out with their FAA license to practice an airframe and power plant license, which is very, very valuable in the aviation world. So that's the thought, and we're looking forward to the partnership.
And would GE Aerospace be interested in hiring them? Are you watching them, or is it just more, getting so there's more of this involved?
We'd absolutely be interested in hiring them. And we do have 5 facilities here in North Carolina with well over 2,000 employees. 20% of them, by the way, veterans. So we're already drawing a big talent pool there. But because it's through the GE Foundation, this is really for anyone in industry. So it could benefit our customers, our competitors, but we think that's the right thing to do to just help the overall industry in the state.
Last question.
We tried to see if we could make them stay and work in North Carolina, but there's no legal way we can require the students to stay in North Carolina.
Hi, Governor Stein. I had one question in terms of the shutdown. It's entering its 3rd week now of the government shutdown. A particular concern are the food assistance programs, WIC and SNAP. I know WIC, the money I believe is already stopped. SNAP set to run out end of the month. What is the state doing anything to backfill some of these programs? And what's your message to these families who are running out of anything to eat?
I'm gravely concerned. There are a lot of families that depend on these programs to help put food on their table. There's entirely too much hunger in this state where folks do not have enough food, do not have enough nutrition on a daily basis, and it's particularly concerning when it affects children. That underscores the urgency for the U.S. House of Representatives to go back to work. They're not even in session right now, which is outrageous. They need to go back to work. They need to get together with the Senate. Republicans and Democrats have to come together to make sure that we have a budget so that critical programs like the programs that feed people across North Carolina and this country, programs that pay our troops and our National Guard. We have National Guards folks who are not being paid at the moment. Programs like Hurricane Helene recovery. We need all of these programs funded because they provide real value to North Carolinians. So they need to get the government reopened, and they also need to ensure that people have access to affordable health care going forward. We cannot afford, this country cannot afford to have millions of Americans get priced out of the health insurance market. It would be absolutely devastating, again, to the entire system. Understand, when people don't have Medicaid or they don't have their own private insurance that they buy with some kind of government subsidy, that means that they can't pay for the health care that they need, which means that they don't go to a doctor and get a checkup. They go to the emergency department, which is the most expensive way to receive health care. we all pay for it. The entire system pays for it. Private providers pay for it. The state health plan pays for it. All of our rates go up the more there are people who have no health insurance. It is urgent that the Congress get affordable health care and get this government reopened as quickly as possible.
Just as a quick follow-up, also the government shutdown impacting lien recovery. The last NC Strong update, I believe, representative said, there's a lot of red tape that's still clogging up getting the already approved funding to groups that need it. How is the shutdown complicating these efforts?
It's unclear that we don't know that it is necessarily at this point. There are different ways that the FEMA reimburses the state. There's something called public assistance when a government undertakes a major expenditure. Maybe it's debris removal or it's fixing a roadway or a water system. They will get approval by FEMA before they do the work. They do the work, they pay for the work, then they get reimbursed. That process had been extremely slow into the summer, but since August it has been improved, and we continue to work with FEMA on that, and we are seeing reimbursements happening even in this shutdown. Where we are seeing no movement is, it's called Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, HMGP. That's a different kind of funding that is used to buyouts for people whose homes have been destroyed and are in a floodplain. And so what the government will do is say, if you want, we'll buy your property from you, and then we will make sure that no house is built there that would later be flooded. That program, we haven't had the first house paid for, even though they've been approved. And so we're working with our congressional delegation. I just was talking about it with Senator Budd this morning. We're working with our congressional delegation to really push FEMA to get those funds flowing, because people in Western North Carolina really need them. Thank you all.